ghost won't ever stay. My pulse synced with the candle's flame. Fear and calm, they sound the same. One more tick, another try. Balance on the reason why. Risk is a rhythm. Patience, a sound. I breathe between the bars of now and next. I'm trading futures, sharing time, fading lines through liquid signs. Every loss and every climb, all dissolve inside the mind. See, shore, to shade breathes back, and I disappear. To the screens glow like city lights, heartbeat caught in the candle's rise. Ticks drift through the static haze, future whispers in dead away.
Yeah. Afternoon stream, let's get it. Neon on the mic, yeah. Neon stepping in, yeah. Session wide awake. Night shift laid the ground. Matt set the play. Now it's midday money. Structure on the screen. Neon seeds acting holy, price moving clean. No FOMO type in the channel mode. We learned that lesson back in 24. Half gap buys when the market dips. DD bands bounce and we let it rip. Bulls on flashing like a warning light. If it's not a line, we let it slide. Patience, heavy discipline, sharp. Room full of killers, but we play it smart. When the clock strikes noon, liquidity rising, feel that boom. Calm hands on the play, red to green, we pivot that way. The room shows up. Yeah. The room shows up. Yeah. Yeah. Volume builder, feel that shift. Market makers tryna midday drift. Fake break high, yeah, we seen that move. Liquidity pocket, we approve. Wish fan blowing when the entry's tight. Stops place clean, risk held right. Not gambling candles, we stack the skill. Consistency over chasing thrill. Chat moving steady, no chaos here. Green heart emojis when setup's clear. If we win together, we lose composed. Trust the system, the blueprints close. Yeah, yeah. The room shows up. Yeah. The room shows up. When the clock strikes noon. Liquidity rising, feel that boom. The room shows up. The room shows up. Calm hands on the play, red and green, we pivot that way. The room shows up. The room shows up. The room shows up. The room shows up. Silence when the setup phones. Heartbeat with the market stones. One clean entry, breathe, don't rush. Midday pressure, but the room shows up. The room shows up. When the clock strikes noon. The room takes. Liquidity rising, feel that boom. The room shows up.
What's up, fam?
Hands on the play, red to green, we pivot that way. The room shows up.
We here, baby. What's up, fam? What's up? What's up? Adventure Rig, Sea and Jake from State Farm, Isburn Trades, Jose, 49 Trades, Saints MZ, David Az, Gabe, JP Smith, Blackouts TVs. What's up, peoples? What's good? What's good? Welcome to the room. The room shows up. ST909s. What's up? Dinosaur. Eddie Rods. Gabe. Matoski's in the house. Matoski in the house. Jesus. C. Kennedy. Solo Trader. Somebody. B71. CV3. Anglo, Now Wow, Sub-Zero. The room's showing up, baby. I love it. What's going on, guys? How's everyone's session going so far? Anyone getting chopped up? Anyone catching the opportunities? Sir Darb in the house. What's up, G? Danik Trader. What's going on, fam? Solid session today. I sat out the open. I'm gonna squeeze it off this level here. Little MHP bouncage. 22 minutes to the rate decision. Trader 007NQ, a recent winner. What's up? Speaking of Trader 007NQ, we got some giveaways today. Let me see how many accounts we're giving away today. 2 or 3. Let's check. 2 accounts today. 2 accounts today. Nice. Estepania, what's up? 49. I'm gonna trade. Nice name. Raptor. Seeing all the room shows up in chat. I love it, man. The family is growing. Matoski said, remember, if you are a TPT pro, close your positions 1 minute before FOMC or sooner, and don't trade 1 minute after. Yeah, I got that email. Is that until after the press conference, or is it just 1:59 until 2:01? Is it 1:59 till 2:01, or is it a minute after the press conference? Do you guys know? Just the announcement? All right. I mean, I probably would. I don't think I'd be opening any trades in the window between the announcement and the conference anyway, but just wanna know, because I did get that email. Conference is allowed. You know, it's interesting about that whole rule thing, because this morning, right after this morning, I got a little bit messed up because there was an entry I wanted to take, and I took it in my main account right after PPI, but I had to wait until a couple of minutes later to take it in the prop accounts. So it was a little bit of a juggle this morning, because it was an entry I was watching for, and it presented itself, but it was in a lock. I think there was a news lockout this morning too, I think, and I didn't know if I was allowed to take it or not in the funded account, so I had to wait. But it did kind of mess me up. Who's green out there? Who's red? How's everyone's session going? Agenda for today. All right, let's go lights on, guys. Lights on. Oh, hey fam, I got it. Did you guys notice? We got a little bit new color going on in the layout. Switched to a little bit of that dark color, kind of blends in with the color scheme a little bit better. Boosted Dime said, Neon, how to make profit? Just exercise that edge, baby, over and over and over again. Baby Red, green and done with props, Jose says. Lore Kick, green on 5 TPT accounts. Nice. I've been trading 3 of my funded. All the TPT accounts now are funded. I'm not trading the evals anymore. Let's see. Although maybe I'll queue up a couple more evals just so I have more fundeds on backup. I have one more funded that's not activated. Let's see. Gray line short. Damn. Short 19 minutes for the rate decision. Okay, playboy. Okay, playboy. Oh, Ryan Waddell said, have I considered a Portuguese water dog? They're hypoallergenic. Oh, I'm gonna save that name, and I'm gonna research that tonight. It's called a Portuguese water dog. Is it a bigger dog? I don't really like small dogs. Oh, that's cool. I mean, I like smaller dogs. I prefer, like, if I was having a dog, I like a bigger dog. Oh, that's cool. Portuguese water dog. Do they have any, like, mean-looking... They have any mean-looking hypoallergenic dogs? You know? Just, like, built like a tank kind of dogs. No? Get a bulldog? Bulldogs are not hypoallergenic though, are they? Rogue! Yes, Rogue. All right, Rogue is here. I was waiting for Rogue to show up. Rogue made a song. We're gonna drop it in 3. Let me just turn up the volume. I'm gonna turn up the volume by like 2 dB. Let me go to filters. Oh, you know, the music's already pretty loud. Music's already pretty loud. Let me bump it. I'm gonna bump it up minus 4 dB. I'm gonna bump it up 3 dB. Hold on. 2.5 dB. Don't want to blow everyone's ear outs. All right, here we go. Rogue submitted this song.
We step into the shadows where the street lights gleam. Neon's on a rise, yeah, you know it's his scene. Every corner's got a story, every rhythm's got a sign. We're chasing down a fire.
Let us know what you think, guys. I like it.
Let the room ignite, feel the city pulse. Neon's name in lights, no looking back now. We rewrite the line in the heat of the moment, baby, one more time. Now the crowd's getting louder, the energy's wild.
Let me make sure I'm on full chat. Yeah. Kind of gives me that, kind of gives me Post Malone vibes. Anyone getting Post Malone vibes? Yeah, it's got a good vibe to it. All right, cool. Yeah, we like it. Lewis, what's going on, G? All right, guys. So, why I sat out of the agenda for today? Why I sat out of the open? No Luck said, "What up? What up, G?" Participation without agreement can lead to more chop. Yeah, Rogue, thank you for the song. We love it. It's dope. We got FOMC rate decision today, and then we got the press conference. Now, I'm set up to show the press conference. There will be audio. But just one thing to keep in mind, like, during the press conference, like, I don't listen to the press conference. I don't listen to the news. So I won't have any commentary on it. That's just the way I trade. I only I have a marker for when the news is released. So I know there's a news release at 2. I know there's a news conference after, but I don't actually pay attention to the output. So just, if you have any questions on what the rate decision is going to do for, the rest of the year or the rest of the quarter, that's not something I think about. The chart tells me everything I need. So that's just my style, but I do have it set up so that you guys can, so that we have it on the screen, and it will be I won't hear it, but you guys will hear it. Kevin, what up, G? Nuck said chat will tell us, I'm sure. Yeah. Honestly, the seeds levels down at the low have been really responsive during the session. I haven't traded them just because today FOMC, but honestly, it was pretty tempting because it lined up with by proxy with MHP on S&P. But the reason is we're just right in the middle of this stable block. It became highly liquid once we got down to the lows, and the pre-market action just gave me, I was very suspect. So let's actually go into why I sat out of the open. Okay. Why I sat out of the open. Let's bring up the Twitter. See, Brave, Twitter. Oh, that's me. I was testing the thing. That's not live. I was just testing the screen size. Here, I'll show you what you guys are going to see. This is what it's going to look like when we have the press conference. This is not the live press conference. It's a replay video, but I was just setting up the screen. So this is what it's going to look like. So it'll be in the top right of the screen. It's nice. It's cropped correctly. There'll be good audio. So I'm set up for that. So that's fun. Okay. Let's go back to the Twitter. All right. So why did Knox, I appreciate that. Okay, so why did I sit out of the open? I sat out of the open because hold on, let me scroll up. Okay. So I sat out of the open because we rallied overnight. The overnight action once again was very clean. It was very clean. I had a long bias. I probably should have traded the overnight. It was really clean. It was stuck between 2 decision blocks, and there was a really nice opportunity to participate in that long. But with FOMC today, and I wasn't paying attention to the chart last night. That just wasn't something I was thinking about, but it would have been a great opportunity. Nonetheless, we rally overnight. And then when I sit down at the desk this morning, Zill, what's going on? When I sit down at the desk this morning, I see that the overnight move is getting taken back, right? The overnight move is getting taken back. And I had these seeds, a big cluster of seeds decision blocks, all in the center of 2 stable zones. So stability above, stability below, right? Above was a new area that we haven't been trading in the last few sessions. And then below was the area that we've been trading in for the last few sessions. So we're coming into these decision blocks. And when you have kind of decision blocks all clustered together, it can be very easy for the market to pass through them. And I'm saying, okay, we've got top side liquidity, we've got bottom side liquidity. And ultimately we get, let me scroll up. We get all the way through all of the decision blocks, and we're sitting in a stable zone going into the open. And I'm thinking to myself, it's like the short side trade is going to be difficult because there's a cluster of, there's a whole lot of participants there. And I just think today is going to be a place where participants are like, they're going to be timid. So it's going to be choppy down there, even in volume. And then the decision blocks overhead, I'm thinking, okay, we can easily pass through that area back to the long side and basically make up all of the overnight sell-off. But I'm like, it's going to be whippy and it's going to be unpredictable. So I said we made it down to 24,900, without too much underlying volume, right? The move down didn't have a lot of volume behind it. So we covered a large amount of range without a lot of participation. So I'm like, I don't know about that. Like if volume came in during that pre-market sell-off, I'd be thinking a little bit differently. I said that sweep down would be pretty easy to take back up. Stability below 24,900, stability above 25,050, possible whippage, fast moves in between. And I'm thinking to myself, let me see what the rocket scooter levels look like at the open, and then I'll make a little bit more of a judgment. But I'm thinking I'm probably gonna sit out the open. And then let's scroll back. If you look in the top right, rocket scooter. Let me just go back to the open and what I saw at the open. All right, let's just it was about here. What time is where's the open? Okay, the open's right here. Okay. So then we open. Oh, and hold on. I said based on pre-market action around PPI, I will tread lightly today. We may see a high range, low participation session, Whip City. We shall see, just a feeling. And then, what time is it? 9:28, 2 minutes before the open. I said, I don't like the chart, not trading the open. Things feel off. Okay. And then, right after the open, let me see what time this was. 9:36, 6 minutes after the open, I said rocket scooter levels just came out. I said confirms below a whole cluster F between 24,900 and 25,073. Right. So if you look at the rocket scooter chart, this is the open, and I could just see it just looks similar to seeds. A whole bunch of levels overhead, and then nothing clear until above 25,050, and nothing clear until below 24,900. So it's basically, it was almost identical to what I was seeing on seeds. A whole bunch of levels in between, liquidity up top, stability up top, stability down below. So I'm like, yeah, this is like rocket scooter came up exactly the same as what I had on seeds. And I'm like, okay, so I didn't like the seeds chart. I don't like the rocket scooter chart. Like neither of them are a chart that I want to trade. So that's it. I sat out. So the only trade I had taken was a small long in the pre-market right after PPI. I was looking for a long. I got a small bounce. Didn't get any follow through, and I got a half a risk unit. I got a half a risk unit off. So that was it, and I've been sitting out since. Just not liking the chart today. And honestly, the action that we've seen intra-session is exactly what I didn't want to participate in. It's indecisive. There's no follow through. Yes, MHP bounce lined up with the seeds level, but I don't know. It didn't get deep enough to the zone where I would have wanted to trade it anyways. I thought about it, but just not the right chart for me. So we'll see. I hope we migrate a significant amount during press conference, but I don't know. I think we could go up and we could see some crazy whippage and rotation between 24,950 and 25,050. So basically, between this high on NASDAQ and MHP on NASDAQ, I think it could just be really whippy in there. So, we'll see if we sell down or if we get into that zone during the press conference. But just, I don't know. Just not a chart that I was excited about this morning. And I figure this is the kind of day where, if I try to get into something and it's not working out, I'm not gonna, even if it is working out, I'm not gonna be able to trade it with conviction. Sometimes I just look at the chart and I'm just like, no, thank you. Like I know when I like the chart and I know when I don't like the chart. Why participation and without agreement can lead to more chop? Adam, the room shows up. What up, G? Why participation without agreement can lead to more chop? So that bullet is on the list because on days when everyone and their mother and their sister and their cousin is looking at the market, sometimes those are the days where I'm not really super keen to participate because it ends up being a cluster. You know, like you got everyone gambling on the rate decision, everyone gambling on PPI in the morning, everyone gambling on, you know, what's punchable Powell going to say during his press conference. It's like everyone's all over the place, bunch of crazies, and sometimes those are the sessions where I'm like, I'm good, no thanks. And then also, it was very clear to me because of the pre-market action that the session, the structure, there was no structure. In pre-market, structure was completely gone out the window. PPI, there was no structure to that sell-off. It wasn't really price was not really reacting at places where it usually would. And I was like, no, it didn't feel right to me. So I was like, nah, I'm good with that. So the fact that I'm not completely even on the day, the fact that I even took a stab at PPI, I'm like, hey, it's basically a green flat day. But we'll see. If we make a big migration during FOMC, that'll be cool. That'll be cool. I'd love us to get back up to the top of the range. Yeah. You know, it would be cool if we just have a violent move down and then just recover the whole range by the end of the day. That would be sweet. Let me see where my entry would be if that happens. Oh, it's way down there. Yeah, maybe we dip below DD band. I'd like a deep dip below DD band. That would be cool. Where's 24? Really far down. Bear zone top on NASDAQ, 24,660. I think it'd be pretty sweet if we made it down there during the press conference. Yeah. This seeds level at 24,817, that by proxy is pretty much with MHP, and by proxy pretty much with DD band. Well, not proxy, it's pretty much lines up with DD band on NQ. That was a good level during the session. But the reason I didn't trade it is because we found liquidity down here in the bottom of the range. To me, it was just as likely that we would bounce at the lows than we would rotate around this area. Like rotate around the seeds decision block, rotate around MHP and DD band on ES, rotate around DD band on NASDAQ. To me, it was almost, to me, it felt like a 50-50. And I'm like, you know, it just, I don't want to take a 50-50 bet. I don't even take 55% bets. You know, I want to feel 65 to 72% confidence, and I didn't feel it. Eddie Rods, is Matt still holding? I'm not sure. Wasn't really up on Matt. I'm not sure what Matt's session, what he was doing. Oh, Matoski's in chat, so he can respond. He said yes. What's his position? Long or short? Long for the undershoot of MHP by proxy on ES. Is that the play that he took? Long. Yeah. Bet the DD band would hold. Yeah. All right, there goes the rate decision. almost no movement from the rate decision. What time's the press conference? 2:30, right? Ryan said there's movement in silver. Nice. All right, increase in price velocity at the rate decision, no increase in volume. So kind of what I expected. Movement without participation. AKA, no thanks. Gonna need volume to come in for this move to sustain. Matoski took profit. Nice. Flat. The boy is flat. Wait, you were in 35 contracts? Did you make it up to probably is the account? Did the account hit 600? Matoski probably at 600K now. Frazier, what's up, G? Anyone have is there a preferred YouTube channel to watch the FOMC conference on? What's the go-to? Let me pull it up ahead of time. FOMC meeting live. Let's see if there's any scheduled one. Their own channel? Okay, let me see. The Federal Reserve channel. Okay. Federal Reserve, here we go. They're just running ads right now. Oh, I gotta fly in my office. Fed making that YouTube money, right? It's there. It looks like it's like internal. It looks like it's internal stuff. Like there's like a map of the country. Hold on, let me just show you guys. Oh, you know what? Let me while I'm doing it, let me test the volume. See how you guys like the volume.
To make sound financial decisions.
Okay.
Through this education program, teachers
so this
have
is just a
access to
test run.
classroom-ready online resources.
So that's the
for
positioning and that's the
kindergarten to
volume level
college.
for the press
Videos,
conference.
classroom
Let me know how it
lessons,
is.
online education, publications, and more. These
are we
resources
thinking?
are all free for educators to use in their lesson plans, or as they see
Oh wait,
fit.
do I have the volume on?
Many of the Federal Reserve System's regional reserve banks, located
Sounds
in 12
good.
districts across
Sounds
the
good.
nation,
Sounds good.
also
All right,
offer
cool.
in-person
All right, so
and
that's
online
queued up.
professional development that allows educators to deepen
Okay.
their knowledge and
Everyone
hone
says
their
a little bit
craft
too
when it
loud.
comes
All right,
to
let me just turn it
economics,
down just a
personal
little bit.
finance, and more. At the board and reserve banks, students also
Wait, what
get
did I just turn
hands-on
down?
opportunities like internships
Okay,
and
let me turn it
participation on
down.
student boards, which introduce them to key economics concepts
7 dB.
and potential careers in economics and
All right,
finance.
let me know how that volume is.
Consumers are empowered to make sound financial
Good now?
decisions through the availability
Too
of
quiet
easy
now?
to understand resources that explain
Black Sheep says
personal
too. I can
finance
bump it up a
concepts,
little bit. You guys let me know.
economy, and the Federal Reserve's role in it. Federal Reserve Education is committed to equipping educators, educating
Perfect.
students,
All right.
and empowering consumers when it comes to understanding and participating in our
It's about half my voice volume. No,
For
that's
more
too low. All
information,
right.
visit
it up.
federalreserveeducation.org
2.5
to find
dB.
links to resources and reserve bank programs offered near you.
I'll take a screenshot of this so for next time I'll know. For next time I'll know. All right, cool. That's going to be the level. Minus 4.4 dB. Okay, cool. All right. Punchable Powell. Punchable Powell. Let's see. It looks like there's some sort of music, hold music. I'll turn that off. All right, let me turn on the music again. And then I'll just leave it up there for now. Colorful Civic Graph says, can we trade TPT now? I'm not sure. I think so. But I don't know. Kevin said, why is the most boring man punchable? I don't know. I just, you know, honestly, during 2020 and 2021, hearing Powell say the word transitory so many times, it just got to the point where, you know, I was just like, you know, you could play a, you know, people like to play drinking games, like when someone says a word they drink or whatever. Like, if you played a drinking game during his press conferences back then, and you drank when he said transitory, I mean, you would have had to go to the hospital most likely, because if you would have had alcohol poisoning, I believe, because he said it a lot, and it was back then that I just said, this guy's very punchable. Punchable Powell. That's why we got his nickname. M System says worse when Yellen said it. Janet, yeah. Hewitt said, what's my prediction if Kevin Walsh takes over? I don't have any prediction. Kevin said alcohol poisoning said false. You've tested it? All right, so movement at the rate decision without any participation behind it, right? How do I know that? Because I could see. Look, you could see, if you see the drastic speeding up of price velocity, if you look at price velocity, see how right at the rate decision, see it dropped and it turned green. Means price sped up a lot. Volume sped up, but it was slowly, right? Volume didn't drop down with it. LaRussa Powell's a limp doodle. I believe that's an astute and fair assessment. Let's see. Let's put on Rogue of the Lamb playlist. If anyone's wondering, your charts are not stuck. We're just stuck in this range. Boosted Dime talking smack out there. I fixed my vibe-coded volume velocity. That was a data error yesterday. That was not a code error. I looked at the log. LaRussa, do I make trades based on those bottom left charts? In a sense, yes. It's not for an individual entry. They're more indicative of current and overall market conditions. And current and overall market conditions are a very big part of my discretion and how I approach the session. Am I pushing it hard? Am I putting on full size? Am I cautious because there's hollow action and I know I'm going to get slippage on my entries? All those things. Understanding if a move has participation behind it versus not. For example, 2 days ago, this is an example from this week. 2 days ago, when the NVIDIA CEO was speaking, we had a sudden spike, right? Sudden spike. And we got to the top of the range. We got above the top of the range for that day, and huge volume came into the market. So there was big volume, big price velocity. We didn't spend any time up there. We immediately dropped back into the range. And I thought, oh, that was suspect. There's lots of participation up there. Why didn't we spend more time up there? And I thought to myself, well, I guess we'll probably go there tomorrow. And my long bias, I had a long bias than the entirety of yesterday's session. And you know, it was a good session. Christian Manning said we played your song. Nice. Christian Manning, if it was like a rap song or a drill song or something, I would have picked it out from Discord. If you got any more, send me a message on Discord, brother. It's Burn Trades. It's Burn Trades. Where did you post yours? Let me see. Did you post it in Discord? Did you message it to me or did you post it? Let's see. Discord, maybe. You message it to me? I usually don't see my direct messages. Let me see. Direct messages. I don't even know how to get to it. Direct messages. Let's see. Oh, I see it in the content. I see it in the song submission. Here we go. Nice. Oh, I'm downloading it right now. What kind of song is it? It's Burn. So I know what what playlist to add it to. What kind of song is it? Is it rap? Is it rock? Is it pop? It's a rap song? All right, let me add it to the rap list. All right. I usually don't play a song until I've listened to it already, just to make sure no one's like putting something inappropriate, but I know you're always here, so I can play it. You wouldn't risk getting banned for life. Here we go.
Yeah. Late nights. Screens glowing.
Boosted Dime said don't get rickrolled.
Charge looking like a battlefield tonight.
It's Burn said it's clean. It's Burns here every day. I believe it's safe.
Rocket scooter loaded. Yeah. Wake up before the sun, screens light the room, candles start printing, yeah, the chaos resume.
All right.
In the dark like the streets in June. One wrong tick in the whole trade doom.
Wait, what just happened? Did we lose it? Did we just lose it? I can't hear it now. Yo, what the hell? Boosted Time said it was just a sample, pay to get the rest. Dude, that was a banger. What happened to it? Hold on, guys. Hold on. Let me restart. Forgot to pay my internet bill. Hold on. Larry said rigged. Dude, right when I was getting in the groove, it dropped like that. I got to put $1 in the slot machine for more. Hold up. Close. Music. All right, here we go. Come on. Bulls and Bears. All right, there we go. Let's try this again.
Screens glowing. Charge looking like a battlefield tonight. Bulls on the charge. Bears in the shadows. Rocket scooter loaded. Yeah. Wake up before the sun, screens light the room, candles start printing, yeah, the chaos resume. Volume in the dark like the streets in June. One wrong tick in the whole trade doomed. I ain't chasing hype, now I'm watching the flow. Or the book whisper where the smart money go. Bulls push high, but the bears move slow. Then the trap snaps shut when liquidity show. See the future's curved in when the
I'm gonna trade. Ask it. Is there a way you can get your AI video as clean as mine? No, that intro video? Nah, I spent like $100 and something bucks on credits to make it. You gotta pay. I don't think you could do that for free. It was like 100 and it took a lot of credits. It was like over 100 bucks, almost 200 bucks probably. But I was revising it and stuff. You know, if I just made it one time, I think it would have been like 60 bucks. But I like made it, and then, you know, I needed to make changes to it. Every time it suggests changes, it costs credits. What program did I use? Let me see what program I used. I forget. It was the first time I'd used it. Let me see. I'll check my Gmail, see if I can find the receipt. Credits. Let's see. I actually don't remember what it was called. Hold on. I don't see a receipt. You see, I don't see the receipt. Here, if I Google music video creator, I'm sure I'll be able to get back to the thing that I used. I think it was VidMuse. This website looks familiar. Pricing. Let me look at the pricing structure. That'll probably ring a bell for me. I think it was VidMuse. This looks familiar. VidMuse. I think it was VidMuse, guys. Whoever's asking. Yeah. Yeah, but I thought it was worth it. I think if you're making a lot of music videos, it could get expensive, but, you know, for one. Screens go dark. And I'm sure there's more efficient ways to do it. It's just not something, you know, it's not like something I do all the time. So I was just like, well, whatever. Jake from State Farm, the Discord is Handsome Dam said players next, welcome to NASDAQ. I'll add it to the list. Jake from State Farm, it's there's a Discord channel for songs. And then my screen name on Discord is Neon Cucumber. But it's the same Discord. It's the Rocket Scooter Discord. It's the community Discord. Why cucumber? I think I was probably cutting up a cucumber, cooking, while I came up with the name. A lot of stuff comes in and out in my head. Sometimes I'll just grab it, like, you know, it comes into my head, it comes out of my head. So every now and again something will come into my head and I'll just grab it out of the air. We're in a pretty voluminous area for for the conference to be starting. So, like, there could be a lot of whippage overhead. So, it's going to be... I'm really interested to see what happens with this chart during the conference. Like, do we go up, make it look like a rally, get the whippage on in the hollow area, then come back down. So I don't know. There's a lot of scenarios for this chart. Dope drops trade says, is there any giveaways today? Hell yeah, there's giveaways today. Kevin says drop and pop.
I'm in the zone, MT5 on screen. Go candle jumping, moving too clean. Daily buy a sluck, I don't chase no green. I let price pull back, 06 win 8 routine. Rick so tired, I could breathe on it. 05 lot, then I double if I see profit. Market fake out, boy, I read through all of it. Sniper on the chart, yeah, I'm built for it. London session, money time, no sleep. And we're open, move, get deep. Follow the flow, don't force no leap. My stop loss small and my wins run steep.
I'd like to see a sell-off than a recovery, but I don't know. Might be the other way around. Leo, what's up, G? What's going on, brother? Yeah, we're giving away 2 accounts today. As soon as the conference wraps, we'll give away our first account. Smash that like button, guys. It's FOMC day. We got 400 family members in the house. Guys, we got a lot of new people in the house. Let's type the room shows up in chat to welcome our new family members. Welcome to the Neon Cucumber Show. It's good to have you, people. It's good to have you. Smash that like button. We're doing giveaways today. First giveaway right after the press conference. The room shows up. Let's get it, fam. The room, THX in the house. Ethan with the obligatory tiramisu. Oh, my nose. Leo said, where's Matoski? Matoski's in chat. Matoski's trading today. He was trading in the afternoon, too. Suncase. Solo Futures Trader. Candy Cane. Dan. Drop Trades. FX Billis. Hawk Trader. Daily Mana. System Fan. The Info Doctor. I'm Gonna Trade. Martin K. C. Kennedy. I love it. Adelia. Grease Window. Samo Show said, are we under MHP? We're under MHP on NASDAQ. We're above MHP on S&P. But S&P resilience, weekly resilience, and monthly resilience, hedge pressure resiliences are negative on both. What color tie do we all think Powell's going to come out with? Nuck saying purple. Punchable Powell, 6 minutes. There's some funny Powell videos on like screw your puts, screw your calls. There's some funny Powell videos that people make with AI. I've seen them pop up. I find them entertaining. Gabe said Iranian flag tie. Yeah, that would definitely not be good. Keegan came in with the shirtless. That would be pretty funny if he just came in shirtless. That would probably break the market for sure. Alternator said, could I show us the bottom of the bear zones on EQ and NQ? The bottom? There's no bottoms. They go on for infinity. Bear zone top. The top is the top of a bear zone is the pivot. And then they go down to infinity and beyond. They're just drawn as zones, just, you know, just so that you can, it's a visual thing. Technically, they could just be a single line. Humble Trader, Humble Trader actually came in with a good correction. Humble Trader Trav said, that is incorrect. They go down to 0. And you know what? I stand corrected. They don't go to negative infinity. They actually, yeah, they go down to 0. Humble Trader with the actual correct answer. They don't go on for infinity. They go down to 0. Thank you, Trav. Stories the candles never told. Captain Jack said, with VIX still above BBB, you typically open up the risk and scale back your contracts. But the last 3 days have been normal price action, not crazy whips. Do I do the same? So I monitor VIX BBB. But most of my years of experience is not with monitoring that, but just with monitoring price velocity and buying velocity. So I usually have a pretty good idea of liquidity based on price and buying velocity. And also with price and volume velocity, I can almost see when we hit a more liquid area in real time. So sometimes it's not only session to session where I'll scale back or turn up risk, but it's also area to area. Because if all of a sudden we're in an area with highly liquid, it's almost like we might be moving into a zone where the volatility conditions are going to change. So I use the two in combination with each other. But I would say more, my risk is more, is it a lot of liquidity? Is there less liquidity? VIX BBB will give you an indication to that, and then so will just overall monitoring the movement of price versus the amount of volume it takes to move it. 1 minute to the conference. He'll probably be a little late. Tie color, magenta. We think of magenta. LaRue, yeah, that's actually one of the reasons I had to fly in my office a minute ago. It's because we got the door open. It's beautiful out. Vegas summer heat coming in. It's supposed to be 90s this week. 90s with no humidity. I love that. All right, here we go. The punchable man himself. Let me turn up the volume.
Good afternoon. My colleagues and I remain squarely focused on.
All right, let me know if you need me to turn the volume up or down.
Employment and stable prices for the benefit of the American
There's that magenta tie.
The U.S. economy has been
Purple.
expanding at a solid pace. While job gains have remained low, the unemployment rate has been a
punching
little
bag
changed
is in
in recent
purple.
months, and inflation remains somewhat elevated. Today, the FOMC decided to leave our policy rate unchanged. We see the current stance of monetary policy as appropriate to promote progress toward our maximum employment and 2% inflation goals. The implications of developments.
You guys got poly market bets out there for the tie color?
We will remain attentive to risks to both sides of our dual mandate.
Volume up.
And I'll have more to say about monetary policy after briefly reviewing economic developments. Available indicators suggest...
Is that unanimous? Volume up? Is the volume too low?
...solid pace. Consumer spending has been resilient, and business fixed investment has continued to expand. In contrast, activity in the housing sector has remained weak. In our summary of economic projections, the median participant projects that real GDP will rise 2.4% this year and 2.3% next year, somewhat stronger than projected in December.
Everyone's saying
in the
up.
labor market, the unemployment rate was 4.4% in February and has changed little since late last summer. Job gains have remained low. A good part of the slowing in the pace of job growth over the past year reflects a decline in the growth of the labor force due to lower immigration and labor force participation, though labor demand has clearly softened as well. Other indicators, including job openings, layoffs, hiring, and nominal wage growth, generally
Guys, hit the like button. We're going to do a giveaway as soon as this is done.
In our SEP,
smash the like giveaway after the conference.
4.4% at the end of this year and edges down.
Oh no, he's showing stuff. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it.
Inflation has eased significantly from its highs in mid-2022, but remains somewhat elevated relative to our 2% longer run goal. Estimates based on the Consumer Price Index and other data indicate that total PCE prices rose 2.8% over the 12 months ending in February, and that excluding the volatile food and energy categories, core PCE prices rose 3.0%. These elevated readings largely reflect inflation in the goods sector, which has been boosted by the effects of tariffs. Near-term measures of inflation expectations have risen in recent weeks, likely reflecting the substantial rise in oil prices caused by the supply disruptions in the Middle East. Most measures of longer-term expectations remain consistent with our 2% inflation
I can play the giveaway song for the giveaway. Let me find it.
The median projection in the SEP for total PCE inflation this year is 2.7% and 2.2% next year, a bit higher than projected in December. Our monetary policy actions are guided by our dual mandate to promote maximum employment and stable prices for the American people. At today's meeting, the committee decided to maintain the target range for the federal funds rate at 3.5 to 3.75%. From last September through December, we lowered our policy rate 0.75 of a percentage point, bringing it within a range of plausible estimates of neutral. This normalization of our policy stance should continue to help stabilize the labor market while allowing inflation to resume its downward trend toward 2%. But the implications of events in the Middle East for the U.S. economy are uncertain.
Giveaway right after the conference.
Higher energy prices
don't forget, don't leave.
Inflation, but it is too soon to know the scope and duration of the potential effects on the economy. We will continue to monitor the risks to both sides of our mandate. We are well positioned to determine the extent and timing of additional adjustments to our policy rate based on the incoming data, the evolving outlook, and the balance of risks. In our SEP, FOMC participants wrote down their individual assessments of an appropriate path of the federal funds rate under what each participant judges to be the most likely scenario for the economy. The median participant projects that the appropriate level of the federal funds rate will be 3.4% at the end of this year and 3.1% at the end of next year, unchanged from December. As is always the case, these individual forecasts are subject to uncertainty, and they are not a committee plan or decision. Monetary policy is not on a preset course, and we'll make our decisions on a meeting-by-meeting basis. To conclude, the Fed has been assigned two goals for monetary policy: maximum employment and stable prices. We remain committed to supporting maximum employment, bringing inflation sustainably to our 2% goal, and keeping longer-term inflation expectations well anchored. Our success in delivering on these goals matters to all Americans. We at the Fed will continue to do our jobs with objectivity.
Eaton, you want one
integrity,
transitory and
and a
nothing
deep
more. He
commitment
ain't
to
gonna
serve
say
the American
transitory.
people.
He ain't gonna
Thank
say
you,
it.
and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you. Colby Smith of the New York Times. There's been some debate about whether the Fed should look through the inflation that will come from higher oil prices stemming from the Middle East conflict. Is that the right approach at this juncture? And to what extent does the fact that inflation has been above target for roughly 5 years now influence the committee's thinking around this?
So, first, let me say we're well aware of the performance of inflation over the last few years and how a series of shocks have interrupted progress that we've made over time. And that happened most recently with tariffs, and now there will be some effects on inflation coming forward. The thing that's really important that we see this year is progress on inflation through a reduction in goods inflation as the one-time effects on prices of tariffs go through the system, go through the economy. That's the main thing we're looking for going into this exercise. And we need to be seeing that.
I did not read anything about
to,
the
to sort of
about the
understand that
everything
we actually are
exchange.
making progress, because on net
Atari.
we didn't make progress. And if you look at total inflation, total core inflation, it's about 3%, and some big chunk of that, between 1/2 and 3/4, is actually tariffs. So we're looking for progress on that. The question of whether we look through the energy inflation doesn't really arise until we have kind of checked that box. It, of course, is kind of standard learning that you look through energy shocks, but that's always been dependent on inflation expectations remaining well anchored. And I think now it's also dependent on what you mentioned, which is that broader context of 5 years now of inflation above target. We have to keep all of those things in mind, and the question of looking through when it does arise will be one to approach not lightly, but in the context that you mentioned.
And just on the S&P, can you help us make sense of why there is still a bias to cut from most officials this year, despite the upward revision to headline and core inflation and the essentially unchanged forecast for growth and unemployment? I'm just curious, kind of what's the genesis behind the need? What's the need for the cut?
Yeah, so, there are 19 people, and so 19 reasons, 19 individual submissions, and if you notice, the median didn't change, but there was actually some movement toward, a meaningful amount of movement toward fewer cuts by people. So 4 or 5 people went from 2 to 1, let's say, 2 cuts to 1 cut. And each person has individual, stories behind what they want to do. But essentially it is that, the forecast is that we will be making progress on inflation. Not as much as we had hoped, but some progress on inflation. It should come as we start to see in the middle of the year progress on tariffs, going through once and then tariff inflation coming down. We should be seeing that. And, the rate forecast is conditional on the performance of the economy. So if we don't see that progress, then you won't see the rate cut.
Howard.
Thank you. Howard Schneider with Reuters. Just to follow up a little bit and to be clear, is the higher inflation penciled in here for 2026 solely the result of the oil shock or something else?
So that's going to be part of it. But, that wouldn't be most of core, right? So the oil shock for sure shows up here. Some of that will be in core as well. But yes, but no, there's also just the feeling that we haven't seen, the progress that we had hoped for on core goods. And on tariffs and on the rest of it. So for whatever reason, people did write up their inflation forecast. That will certainly be tied to events in the Middle East and the price of oil, but it's also, I think, a reflection of the slow progress we've seen on tariffs, which we believe we will see. It's just a question of how long it takes for them to get all the way through the economy, and it just takes some time.
Right. And is the lack of change in the SEPs, again, just to explicate this a little bit, more due to the expectation that the oil portion of this will pass through, or more out of
Guys, don't forget, hit that like button. Doing a giveaway after the conference.
To consumption and growth coming in the form of wealth effects with the stock market down, in the form
Celebration of Punchable
gas
Powell.
prices, diverting spending from other parts of the economy.
So I didn't get the second part of your question.
That consumers are going to be potentially diverting money to gasoline from other parts of the economy. There could be a growth shock or a redistribution of spending there that can hit consumption, wealth effects as well. I guess I'm wondering, is the rate forecast not changing because you think the oil shock is going to be temporary, or because you want to be sure you're positioned in case growth starts to slow?
So the thing I really want to emphasize is that nobody knows. The economics effect could be bigger, they could be smaller, they could be much smaller or much bigger. We just don't know. So people are writing down something that seems to make sense to them, but have no conviction. That to your point, if we have if we have a long period of much higher gas prices, that's going to weigh on consumption. That'll weigh on disposable personal income, and it'll weigh on consumption. But we don't know if that's going to happen. Something quite different than that. We might have much lower than expected pass-through. So people write down, this is one of those SEPs where a number of people mentioned if we were ever going to skip an SEP, this would be a good one, because we just don't know. So I wouldn't say there's a conviction that this is going to go through quickly or not quickly. It's just you got to write something down, and this is something that is that people wrote down. We don't debate how long. How do you do that? We wouldn't be able to debate what the length of or size of these effects would be. We just have to kind of make an individual statement. And also, what you've written down before you'll be reluctant to move too far away from that, just because you don't know. It's so unclear what the direction from this particular end will be. Meanwhile, the growth has been solid, and inflation, the overshoot is mainly from the goods and tariffs. And, the labor market is, the unemployment rate, of course, is little changed since September. You have a very, very low break-even rate, apparently, for new jobs, with little growth in either demand or supply. But the U.S. economy is doing pretty well. It's just we don't know what the effects of this will be, and really no one does.
Steve.
Mr. Chair, in the past, the staff has suggested that higher oil prices.
Good volume down here at the bottom of the range.
I was talking about, but that's somewhat offset by
healthy
increases to domestic production. I wonder if you could talk about that dynamic, especially to the extent that how much U.S. production is happening right now.
So
the first thing is, there is, the original thinking.
When would he grill Powell about the flip-flop in his answer? There's a bunch of people with their own way of doing things.
That kind of thing. So, sorry, your question was?
Punchable Powell, doing punchable Powell things.
So there'll be an offset.
Offsets, yeah.
So that's true. We're a net exporter of energy, right? So any effects on employment and economic activity and spending would be offset to some extent by the fact that our oil companies will be more profitable, and they may even do more drilling. If you ask oil companies about doing more drilling, though, they're going to want to see, a consistent rise in oil prices from where they were before the buildup for the war, and they're going to want to believe that that's going to be persistent for a fairly long time. So they're not sitting there waiting for oil to go over $70 a barrel, and then they're going to start drilling or whatever. They're going to make a reasoned, careful judgment that we're going to have higher oil prices for an extended period of time, meaningfully higher. So I wouldn't say there's much of that happening. Not much will be happening now, but some of that could happen over time if you see that. But so the net of the oil shock will still be some downward pressure on spending and employment, and upward pressure on inflation, of course.
And if I could just follow up on Colby's question, how much do you worry that, having looked through tariff inflation and inflation running above target, and looking through the oil price shock, would undermine the credibility of your commitment to the 2% target?
We have to do our analysis and think these things through carefully, but of course that's on everyone's mind. We're well aware of the history, but you don't want to overreact to that. You want to make the best judgment you can based on the facts. I don't think we're going to let it color our decision making more than is appropriate. It's more the thought that it's been 5 years, and we've actually had we had the tariff shock, we had the pandemic, and now we have an energy shock of some size and duration. We don't know what that's going to be, actually. And it's one of those things where it's a repeated set of things, and you worry that that's the kind of thing that can can cause trouble for inflation expectations, and so we worry a lot about that, and we are very strongly committed to doing what it takes to keep inflation expectations anchored at 2%, and I think it's important that we do that. Very important.
Nick.
Nick Timoros, Wall Street Journal. Chair Powell, you've described monetary policy as modestly restrictive. If the unemployment rate is roughly stable, inflation moving sideways in the high twos, with an ongoing overshoot in services and non-housing services, not just goods, and the economy doing fairly well, as you just outlined, what gives you confidence that inflation returns to target over the next couple of years?
Okay. So I would say the rate is, you can characterize it as in the high end of neutral, or you can characterize it.
Anyone
as
notice how that guy was holding the microphone?
Even modestly restrictive. No one
Holding
knows
it like
for
this.
sure, but
Holding
it's
it like
in
this.
that range where it's somewhere around the borderline between restrictive and not. Remember that a big part of the disinflation we're looking for is just the runoff of when tariffs are put into place. Of course, what they do is they raise prices to some extent, to the extent those prices the tariffs are paid by consumers, on a one-time basis. And we're waiting for that process. It takes 8, 9, 10, 11 months, a year to go through the system, and we're waiting for the tariffs, which were put in place over the course of the middle part and later last year. We're waiting for that to go through the system, so that goods inflation will return closer to what it's always been. I mean, it used to be
Sweep the leg.
It was negative.
Sweep the lows.
The year before tariffs came in, it was 0, and it's running at like 2% now. So. And so that's kind of, goods inflation is running at 2%. So that's not coming from standard Phillips curve restrictive, restrictive policy. It's coming from the runoff of a one-time thing. We also think it's important, though, to keep policy either mildly restrictive or close to that, but not too restrictive because of the weakness in the downside risk in the labor market. We are balancing these two goals in a situation where the risks to the labor market are to the downside, which would call for lower rates, and the risks to inflation are to the upside, which would call for higher rates or not cutting anyway. So we're in a difficult situation, and we feel like our framework calls on us to balance the risks, and we feel like where we are now, which is kind of on that borderline, the higher borderline of restrictive versus not restrictive, we feel like that's the right place to be.
Can I ask about core non-housing services, though? Because there are some people who think that it hasn't come down very much, if at all, over the past year.
Oh, this guy must have heard me. He
If
changed his
wage
script
growth has
now.
come down, if the labor market has loosened, why has non-housing services inflation maybe been slower to follow?
Little baddie in the background, though. What up, girl?
It's frustrating. Labor, non-housing services they basically moved sideways for a year. They're at the same level, and we do expect that they will come down. But it's a bunch of idiosyncratic things. But at the same time, that is one of the things we should be seeing, because to your point, the labor market is clearly not a source of inflationary pressures, and that should really matter for non-housing services. But we're not seeing progress there. So we do,
GB4, no, but there's nothing wrong with that, I guess. Whatever.
For this year, rather, is continued progress on housing services.
FL Trader Matt, what up, G? You're welcome. I know everyone loves it. Everyone loves this conference.
And then also get some help from non-housing services. That's what we'd like to see. But it's a good question why we didn't see much of that last year.
Edward.
Thanks, Chair Powell. Edward Lawrence with Fox Business. So in December, we saw employment numbers revised down to negative 17,000. January revised down. February posted a loss of 92,000. Is the employment side a far greater risk than the inflation side? Because we are seeing inflation. CPI is close to 2%. PCE has ticked down.
Very liquid down here.
It's really, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that that's clear at all, that one is more at risk than the other. So you can point to the unemployment rate being stable.
Jose says,
in a world
your
where both
Powell
supply
speech,
and
your favorite
demand
show of all
workers have
time?
come down very, very sharply over the course of the past year due to immigration.
All right, here we go. Here's a little dippage. Come on, give us a
ratio is going to
dippage.
be a better thing to look at than job creation, for example. So, and the ratio is the unemployment rate, and it's been stable since September. So that tells you that.
A violent one. I want a violent one.
You can. We're at 3.0% core. inflation 2.8% headline. So we've been well above the 2%, that amount, whatever it is, 0.7, 0.8, or a full percentage point above 2% for some time. And that's a concern. You know, we need to get back down to 2%, and we need to keep focused on that, even though we do now face some new inflation from energy. So I'd be hard-pressed to say that one of them is obviously more at risk than the other.
And if I may, what happens if there's no Federal Reserve chairman confirmed on May 15th? Would you stay on?
So if my successor is not confirmed by the end of my term,
Daily Man said, "What do I mean when a level is liquid?" So I'm just seeing, I'm seeing price and volume start moving together. A lot of volume. There's a pretty significant amount of volume going through the market right now, especially considering, you know, there's a possible catalyst at any second, anything he says. So the fact that there's this much participation during the press conference while we're at the lows of the day, you know, I'm just taking note of that. There's a lot of participation happening in the market right now at this level, which I find interesting. Which I find interesting. I'd like to see a violent sell-off and then a recovery.
And after the investigation is over, I have not made that decision yet. And I will make that decision based on what I think is best for the institution and for the people we serve. Figuring you probably were going to set the dominoes off there, Edward. And I'm not going to have any more to say on those issues, by the way.
Thank you very much. Claire Jones from the Financial Times. People have drawn quite a few historical parallels with the current.
The only thing that makes it a little sketch is there's not really, it's quite a distance to a level below. So it's almost like if we get a violent sell-off and then we recover,
is the right parallel to
you know, then maybe that's the entry. I don't know. I'm just watching the tape, but I'm definitely taking note of the liquidity down here.
You know, it's really hard to say until we see.
It's healthy right now. I mean, it's healthy. I mean, you could see there's no whippage. There's no whippage going on right now.
In fact, for example, if
things are very stable.
Kinds of disinflationary progress that we expect to see due to tariffs that I mentioned, I think it's hard to say, and it will depend to some extent on the size and duration of the effects we're seeing on prices, and it will depend a lot on what we can see in inflation expectations.
And just one follow-up, if I may, just on the BLS report that was mentioned briefly there. It doesn't seem from the projections or from the comments you've made today about the unemployment rate and focusing on that your view on the labour market story, to a large part being a supply-side story, has changed despite the quite negative number in February. Would that be the right take, and was there anyone else in the room who thought differently and that the February jobs report was cause for concern?
So I think you have to take the two together. You know, in a way, the January report was a positive surprise, and the February report was a negative surprise. If you put them together, you get something in the middle, and I think you have to really, as you do, I'm sure, realize there was a strike and there was weather, and that's about 80,000 of the negative effect total on the February report. Notwithstanding that, so what do you see if you take a step back overall? There are a number of indicators that suggest a degree of stability, but the thing that I think good number of people on the committee are concerned about is just the very, very low level of job creation. If you adjust what has been the trend job creation over the past, let's say, 6 months, if you adjust that for what we think, our staff thinks, is the overstatement due to overcounting, effectively there's zero net job creation in the private sector. But actually that looks like that's about what the economy needs in terms of dealing with very, very low, non-existent really, growth in the labor force, which of course we've never had in our history. So you've got a sort of a zero employment growth equilibrium. Now that's balance, okay, but you know, I would say it does have a feel of downside risk, and it's not kind of a really comfortable balance. So you know, we look at that, we see it, we get it, and I mean everybody understands the arithmetic, and that's you can say the break even is zero, but nonetheless it's something we're watching carefully, and so and you know, are concerned about. But ultimately, though, you can argue that it's a consequence of deliberate policy, which is really the changes to.
Come on, give us a V back up.
That's the biggest factor there, and
VS back up, baby.
But nonetheless, something we watch carefully.
Andrew.
Thanks, Chair Powell.
There we go.
The economy's experienced a series of supply shocks in the last few years, COVID, tariffs, 2 oil price shocks. Do you think that is bad luck, or has something changed in the world that makes supply shocks more common, and does the central bank need to start taking account of the risk of supply shocks as a more common problem?
You know, we did go through a long period where the shocks were all demand shocks, and you know, so we've had a lot of practice thinking about supply shocks in the last 4 or 5 years for sure. And it's just a very different thing, and a much more difficult thing, because it does immediately raise the question of tension between the 2 parts of our mandate.
Moving his hands.
But, you know, has the world changed? I mean, COVID is a one-time thing, right? This energy supply shock is a one-time thing. It's not because of some broad tendency or anything, I don't think. And you know, the oil shock with Ukraine was also a consequence of military action. So I don't know that the world has changed in a way that there'll be more supply shocks. But you know, there's people have written that paper and that speech a number of times. A number of people have tried to make the case that is the case. And in fact, we have seen more supply shocks in the last 5 years than we've seen in many years before that. It's a fact.
Okay. You said last year that the Fed was reviewing its communication strategies, including the SEP, as part of its framework review. Whatever happened to that? And,
Guys, hit the like button. Let's get up to 300. We're going to do a giveaway right after this conference. It's almost Power Hour already. So we'll be doing 2 giveaways during Power Hour, 2 prop accounts.
That was not much, and I'll tell you why. So, you know, we looked carefully at many aspects of the SEP and of our communications, and there weren't any ideas that had very broad support on the committee. And you don't want to make a change to your communications unless you have the committee behind that. So we didn't really make any changes on that. I had hoped that they had some things that I wanted to do, but they didn't attract broad support, and we'd already made all the changes we made to the framework. That was a critical thing. So we didn't. And, I wish we had been able to do some things, but
Anyone been scalping this action?
Maybe the next chair will take a look. I'm sure he will.
Michael McKee from Bloomberg Television and Radio. The minutes show in January some members of the committee wanted to include a 2-sided guidance on policy. Was that discussed today? And given the rise in the inflation expectations, how much support for a 2-sided policy warning would there be?
So it did come up today. The policy that the possibility rather that
Second
our next
push
move
down.
rate increase did come up at the meeting, as it did at the last meeting. The vast majority of participants don't see that as their base case, and of course we don't take things off the table. But you correctly characterized what was in the minutes that several participants indicated, and something very much like that conversation did happen. What was your second question, though?
I was just one question there, but follow-up would be, there are a lot of goods besides oil that are trapped in the strait right now, and a lot of supply chains getting snarled. How much concern do you have about whether, if this becomes an inflation problem beyond just oil, whether there's anything you can do about it or would do?
252 likes. Let's get it to 300 before Power Hour or before the giveaway. First account we're going to be giving away. Let's see.
Commodities, you can worry about all of the ways that oil commodities.
This isn't the code word, but we'll be giving away a funded next 25K rapid. Nice.
We just, like everybody else, we have to just wait and see what happens, and it'll come down to how long.
I took a couple of scalps during this little conference.
The current situation lasts, and then what are the effects on prices, and then how do consumers react and that kind of thing. Really, I wouldn't speculate in any way, and there's really not a lot we can do other than kind of watch and see.
Powell Hour.
Afternoon, Chair Powell. Maria Luisa Capurro with Bloomberg News. I wanted to ask you, you've said longer-term measures of inflation expectations reflect confidence that the Fed will get back to its 2% goal, but there are some colleagues of yours who have pointed to higher dispersion in household service, in business service as well. So, and that they take as a signal that inflation expectations may be less sticky than in the past. I'm wondering if there was a discussion around that at this meeting across the committee. committee.
This dip getting balled
and
up.
What were the
Balled
views of
up.
what is the state of inflation expectations and the risks from higher oil and gas prices?
So at this meeting, I mean, a number of people mentioned and staff briefed on short-term expectations having moved up quite a lot for reasons we understand well. But long-term expectations, you know, you can always find one that's troubling or some aspect of one that's troubling, but ultimately, right through this whole period, the overwhelming majority of the things we look to, including markets, including surveys of, you know, of the public and also of forecasters, they've all been pretty solid on longer-term inflation expectations being right where they need to be, consistent with 2%. So that continues to be the case. We didn't have a lot of conversation about that. I think everyone does agree that you know, we'll be watching those extremely carefully as we see the effects of the price increases come through from the conflict.
And still on how the discussion went across the committee, before coming to this meeting, there were some members who were like discussing the risks of a slowdown in growth and at a time of where inflation remains high. It really doesn't seem that most members are penciling in a slowdown in growth.
No.
But has there been any discussion of the risks of stagflation at this point?
So people actually wrote up their growth forecast by a tenth, and I think that's probably to do with just growing confidence in productivity. But sorry, and your second question was just.
If there have been any discussions about the risk of stagflation scenario.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, there is tension between the two goals, right? The upward risk for inflation and downward risk for employment. So
Blue Shield, the Blue Shield next to the name, I believe it means mod.
When we use the term stagflation, I always.
All right, we're hollowing out a little bit now.
That was a 1970s term.
Hollowing
at a
out.
time when unemployment was in double figures and
We gonna get that
inflation was
big
really
green
high,
candle
the
or
misery
what?
Index was super high. Add them together, you get the misery index. And that's not the case right now. We actually have unemployment really close to longer run normal, and we have inflation that's, you know, 1 percentage point above that. So calling that stagflation, it's not, you know, I would reserve the term stagflation for, you know, a much more serious set of circumstances. That is not the situation we're in. What we have is some tension between the goals. And we're trying
hard to hit it
manage
right
through
here.
it. It's a very difficult situation, but it's nothing like what they faced in the 1970s.
It's pretty
And that's-
stable.
I reserve stagflation for that, the word for that period. Maybe that's just me.
Elizabeth. Thanks so much. Elizabeth
Oh,
with ABC
taking
News.
out the reins.
President Trump says that oil prices and overall inflation will go down very rapidly as soon as the war ends. Do you agree with that?
I don't have a forecast on that.
Only 20
We're
points.
thinking about the impact on American households. As you know, they've been facing these higher prices for years. They've seen an almost $1 increase in gas. How worried are you about households?
Mario,
especially
no, I didn't buy. I
lower-income
took a
families
couple
being able
of
to
scalps
afford
at the
those
top.
price hikes? And should
But I didn't
people
hold
be
through the whole
bracing for
move.
higher
Took a
costs, including
short
for
scalp,
food
and I
now?
think I took a long scalp. I could show the
We don't know how
executions
big these
after.
effects are going to be, and I don't want to characterize them in any way. Of course, people are already seeing gas prices. Gas prices are up almost $1 a gallon. We hope that isn't for a long period of time, and of course, people will feel that, but I don't want to speculate about what that might mean, because honestly, that would sound like I have some idea of what's actually going to happen, and I don't think anybody really does. We're going to see how this works out, and I just would leave it at that.
Victoria.
Hi, Victoria Guido with Politico. I just wanted to ask, for purposes of the next meeting, you know, how the Middle East war develops between now and then, how are you thinking about what might guide action at your next meeting? I mean, if we have oil prices, you know, above $100 a barrel the entire time until the next meeting, is that going to change your wait and see stance? Like, what would lead you all to move, or is are you on hold pretty indefinitely?
We'll have to wait and see. I mean, you know, we always say we're going to learn more by the next meeting, and usually we do, but in this case, we're going to learn a lot, because we're going to learn 6 weeks to the day till the next meeting. And we're going to see whether what happens is it's going to be very important for the way the economy looks and the way the outlook evolves with what happens in the Middle East. That's going to be a big factor, and we'll know that then. I don't know how.
Damn, it's a long conference.
I really don't. And we did.
Come on, pal.
Alternative scenarios a little bit, but it's just I wouldn't bring that in here. It's very uncertain, and I just want to remember that we don't know. And we shouldn't assume it's going to be one thing or another. We're going to see.
So is it a matter of you don't know how the situation itself is going to evolve, or even if things remain as they are, the economy could still remain relatively durable in face of them?
Yeah, that's true too. No, I mean, the U.S. economy.
All right, guys, smash the like button. Let's get up to 300. I'm going to start the first giveaway. I want to start the first giveaway, even though he's still yapping.
A whole bunch of challenges. I mean, if you
I'm gonna get started.
Go back to 2023 when we raised rates a lot in 22 and 23.
Bring up the little giveaway engine.
100% of economists called for a recession, which didn't happen. In fact, 2023 was a really strong year. So,
wait.
The U.S. economy.
Can I do it without?
Really been just.
Let me see.
Just doing pretty well through a lot of significant challenges over the past few years. It's been amazing to see. And I don't know what's going to happen in the next.
Stand by for the code word.
I don't know what's going to happen in the Middle East. I wouldn't want to speculate.
286. Almost 500 people in the house.
Thanks for taking our questions. What makes you so certain that tariff-related price increases will be a one-time effect? I don't think we've seen you since the Supreme Court tariff decision, and it's pretty clear that none of us know what the extent of the tariff shock will be as the administration moves to replace some of the tariffs that were overturned. So I suppose I'm curious, what would make you question this certainty that tariffs are going to be a one-time price effect?
Well, I would not at all use the word certain about my views on that. I'm not certain. I'm uncertain. But just if you think about what it is, it's a one-time increase in the price of a good, right? And what inflation is ongoing increases in prices this year, next year, the year.
All right.
That's what inflation is. It's not
code word
price increase.
is
very, very
wait and see. Giveaway time. Code words wait and see. All one word. Wait and see.
In theory, unless
wait and see.
People to start expecting still more tariffs the next year and still more tariffs the next year, they should be a classic one-time thing.
All one word. You got it. You got it.
Traditionally about an energy price spike, because traditionally prices go up.
We're going to wait and see. We're going to wait and see. It sounds like that's what he was saying based on chat's messages. I got it on mute.
So I don't have tons of confidence on that. I mean, I think that the theory is probably right, but as usual, the time it takes to get all the way through the economy is just very uncertain. And we found that coming out of COVID, that the inflation did go away, and largely for the reasons we thought it would, but it took 2 years longer than we thought. So I think we have to be humble about knowing how long it will take.
Giveaway is for
tariffs to go all the way through the economy. And so what we've been doing.
Funded next 25K rapid.
It's very interesting. They started off.
Nice little account. $1,500 target. $1,000 maximum loss limit.
That they're seeing of tariffs coming through
10 micros, 2 minis in challenge. 15 micros, 3 minis in funded.
All the tariffs, they can say, well,
40% consistency.
Slightly more confidence
in the funded only.
We'll see tariff inflation coming down, not prices, but you won't see further increases, and we should start seeing that more and more in the middle parts of the year. We do expect that. Now, you're also right, though, that the level of tariffs came down fairly meaningfully in the wake of the court decision. But the administration said they're going to get that rate right back up to where it was. So, and we assume that they'll do that over time. So that's how we think about it.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you. Chris Rugaber at Associated Press. You talked about the shortcomings of the SCP in this environment. I wanted to ask about, or throw in an additional thing, which is the fact that it's happening before transition. Is there still some value, perhaps, in the public knowing what other Fed officials are thinking, the ones who will stay on for the rest of the year and beyond? And does that even handicap your successor in any way? Well, just in terms of having a whole committee expressing its views, is that something that locks them in for the rest of the year?
No. We never. The SEP is never. People are more than happy to change their SEP dots. They're no way bound by them. You know, it's your opinion at a moment in time, which can change based on events. You know, sometimes very quickly. So it never locks people in. You know, people are more than happy to be proven wrong in either direction. And so I just think we do it. And you know, I mentioned this was a time when it's very hard to do it. During the pandemic, we actually took one meeting off, I think. But you know, we don't like to do that just because it's hard to do. We should just keep doing it. But I just would say for this one though, I think it's even more than usual good to take the forecast with a grain of salt because subject to just very high levels of uncertainty.
St. NZ's thrown in the weight.
Chung with NBC News.
NC.
So you mentioned at the beginning of this conversation that you're well aware of the history of inflation running above target. It seems like that might be what's underpinning the affordability problem that we're hearing a lot about on Main Street. Are there any signs to you that that's impacting the psychology of the consumer, especially given that they're a big driver of overall economic activity?
I'm not sure what that's all about, but I'll tell you what I think and what we see in surveys, and that is, you know, there were big price increases all around the world, by the way, everywhere in countries like the United States had basically the same kind of thing. It was a global inflation coming out of the pandemic, and everywhere people are feeling like real wages have been going up in the United States now for 3 years, roughly. But people are not feeling good about it yet, and it will take some years of positive real earning gains for people to feel good again, we think. But you're right. But when you talk to people, they do feel squeezed, and you know there are areas where prices are still going up, like insurance. Various different kinds of insurance are getting more and more expensive, and that's just catching up really from inflationary pressures that take a while to get to into the price. So we take it very seriously. We don't dismiss it at all. It's a very real thing from the standpoint of what people are experiencing, and you know what it does for us is, you know, makes us even more committed, if that's possible, to getting inflation back to 2%.
See if we get another leg lower. Liquidity drying up a little bit now.
Independence play into the ability to address affordability?
Well, independence is what allows us to do our jobs, and you know, stable prices is half of our mandate. It's one of our two mandates, maximum employment being the other. I mean, look at every advanced economy that looks anything like the United States anywhere in the world, in a market economy, in a democracy, and you'll see, you know, pretty much central bank independence that looks a lot like, in some cases, stronger than what we have. But it's critical that we have that so that we can do the things when we need to do them to preserve price stability. And it's an accepted standard practice, and I think has a lot of support, certainly
Come on,
in
pal.
Congress, which is where our oversight is in Congress. And you see that among Democrats and Republicans in the House and the Senate.
Hi, Chair Powell. Richard Escobedo at CBS News. Thanks for doing this. Two questions. One, how high would oil prices and broader inflation have to go, and for how long, for the committee to consider hiking rates? And then secondly, diesel prices are rising faster than gas prices. How concerned are you that the increase in diesel might drive up food and goods prices and lead to broader inflation?
Yeah, I'm not going to give you an example or specific answer on the first question.
Jobs Trade says the Federal Reserve is unconstitutional?
I wouldn't want to hypothesize about what that.
Wait, hold on. Bitcoin down 44,000? No, Bitcoin's not down 30,000, is it?
There is, are we concerned about it? I mean,
how concerned, and whether or not it will drive
Bitcoin's at 71,300.
and other goods that really rely on it to
so
move
I think
across the
it's
country.
a more general concern than that. It's diesel prices, because that's transportation of food and things like that. There are just lots of ways that oil and derivatives of oil get into the production and transportation.
Guys, we're almost at 400 people in the house. Smash that like button. Let's get the likes up.
In headline
You
inflation,
guys, we still got people clicking in. Wait and see. That's the code word for the giveaway. Fund the next 25K rapid.
Quite real, and they're
Rapid.
So we are aware of that, and we're watching it.
USO
We're ready
stock.
to the beginning of this.
I haven't looked at oil today either.
We don't know how big we just don't know how big this will be and how long it lasts. It may or may not be something that really makes a big imprint on the U.S.
Thanks very much. Just to sort of stare into the future for a little bit, I was looking at the longer run bits of the SEP and noticed that the growth estimate had been revised up a good chunk from 1.8 to 2.
And market's stuck
kind of
now.
Long-term Fed funds rate as well. It'd be
Come
great to
on.
hear, is that AI productivity or what's going on?
Shorts are
there?
stuck and
Yeah,
longs
well, I
are
think
stuck in
it's-
this little
it's
zone
just
down here, I
productivity.
bet.
We actually started seeing meaningfully higher productivity some years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. And
525 family members in the house. The room shows up. Welcome, fam.
we won't know for years what's
Type the
really
code word. We're doing a giveaway if you just joined.
due to the kind of things that
Let's
people
see how
did
many
during the
entries we got so
pandemic
far.
to economize and
235
and somehow become more
entries.
productive because there was an incredible labor
You out there and you want to enter the giveaway, all you got to do,
I think
type the code word in chat. The code word is wait and see. For the next 25K rapid, $1,500 target.
of high
Let's
productivity.
see what I
are
say.
so
$1,500
big,
target.
and they're often revised away.
And
from years to- I
$1,000
never thought I'd
drawdown.
see This many years of really high
Loss
productivity,
limit.
And by the way, expect it to continue. And we haven't really started to see the effects of generative AI.
All right.
And that should.
When we break the low of this range, if we break the low of this range,
It's quite
we'll
unusual.
pick the winner.
And it's this is the higher productivity is the thing that allows incomes to rise over time. And so it's a great thing.
Liquidity's drying up, so
Yeah, no, I
it
was
should
curious what
happen.
lay behind that. And just briefly on that as well to finish up, you hear the argument a lot, this is a sort of disinflationary story, and if you believe that productivity thing, that should also weigh down inflation over time, maybe then kind of pull down where rates end up. Do you kind of agree with that line of thinking, or do you think that's not how you should think about where the rates
I think you have to be cautious about that, in particular if you're talking about AI, about generative AI. So remember, in the short term, what's happening is we're building data centers everywhere, and that's actually putting pressure on all kinds of goods and services that go into building these things. So that's actually probably pushing inflation up at the margin. In addition, it probably raises the neutral rate. So in the near term, you're not looking at something that would immediately call for lower rates or that would be lowering inflation. Over time, though, sure, it can be if it's expanding potential output, which is what higher productivity does, then it actually can be. But I think it's an empirical question because it's really is the demand growing faster or slower than the supply side? And I think we just don't know that answer ex ante going in. We'll just have to wait and see. Thank you very much.
Oh, snap. Peace out, Powell. All right, let me add this. I don't know how to add this. How do I add this? Oh, maybe I can just add it like this. Okay, I don't know how to add this back to the thing. All right, let me minimize that. Here goes the giveaway. All right. 1098765432. Pick a winner. Hot takes 99. Type something in chat. Let me hot takes 99. Type something in chat.
Hello, and welcome to our discussion today on the Federal Reserve's path as we navigate slowdown
Brave
concerns
giveaway.
and
Hold
the
on.
threat posed to policymakers.
Let me turn that off now. And there we go. Okay. Hot takes 99. They're here. Congratulations, you're a winner. Step up to claim your prize. All right, here's what you're going to do. Click the link in the description. Click the link in the description for the Discord channel. You're going to go to the contest channel in that Discord. Message the admin name Slacks, SLACKS, and he gonna hook you up. Nice. Breaking the lows. Wait, how do I add this tab back to the other browser now? There we go. All right, cool. All right, little scalpage during that. Little scalpage during the conference. Let me update the P&L. Tiny little scalps, but added about 40% to the P&L. No complaints. Let me see. P&L. Nice. Oops.
We wait for the market, then act as one.
Yeah, I took profits. Honestly, I had a good entry. I didn't want to hold it. It was short. And then I took a long scalp. But it was basically, they were just little tiny trades. Let me bring up my executions. Data series. Yeah. This short entry was actually really good. The stop was up here. I don't know. I just didn't like what I didn't like what I saw on the tape. So I was just kind of scalping it, but I didn't like what I saw on the tape, so I didn't really hold any of them long. But there was only small risk. Only small risk. I think it was 2 micros. One trade T. Giveaway's over, brother. But we do have another giveaway during Power Hour. So stick around. Alright, so did everyone have fun during the conference? People love the whip. Well, we didn't really get the whippage. It was a very liquid area that we were in during the entire conference. Highly liquid area for the whole conference. Power Hour. Come on, give us let's just get a gnarly sell-off. Where's Bears on top? Let's see. 24,658. 24,658. Yeah, it's still in the middle of a stable block for me. I don't know. Levi, you long or short, brother?
Wait for the level, respect the bands, risk is controlled.
Long? Nice.
Monthly hedge pressure, resilience shows, liquidity taken, now the move goes.
Yeah, the only problem is there's a lot of liquidity down below. So I mean, if there's accumulation going on, I don't know. That's why I was so kind of in and out, because it's hard to know where the stopping point is. The short had good structure to it. I should have held that short longer, but woulda, coulda, shoulda. I was just scalping the tape. It was very liquid, so I felt the risk was totally controllable. That was a really liquid press conference. It's not always like that, Sometimes you're in a super illiquid area when those press conferences happen, and it just price whips around 50, 60, 70 points in a candle. Lintov, intraday drawdown, got the got your account? Sorry to hear that, brother. Yeah, you really gotta be Scalp City with the intraday. Let me take a look. I wonder what my accuracy is for today's scalps. It might be, I'm gonna log into that little Tradovate thing and take a look. I'll screenshot it. It might be 100%. Tradovate, trader.tradovate.com. See what I got. Hey, the funded accounts are past buffer. That's cool. I'm glad I activated those. Let's see here. $90.1%. Nice. Scalp City. That's cool. Let me screenshot this. That's cool. So adventure rigs, basically, even if you use NinjaTrader, there's this thing in Tradovate. It's like a free journal, and it's hold on, let me go back. It's something that says, click here. Okay, so when you log into Tradovate, it automatically pops up at the top of the screen, your accuracy and stuff for today. And then above the dashboard, there's something that says, click here to view performance data for previous sessions. And if you click on that, you can define a date range. You can define a date range. But I just like it. I never used to use this, but I found out about it. I saw a couple of people like on Twitter and stuff post them, and it's cool just to keep track of it, and also it's a cool way to just talk about the session with stream. Let me just screenshot it. We can look at it together. I took I was super in and out today. Okay, let me just Tradovate properties. Shot. Okay. All right. So these are the stats for today. So the pre-market trade was 811. I took a trade before I must have taken a trade before the announcement as well. Anyways, yeah. So I mean, Scalp City, 90.1% accuracy. Obviously, you can't hold trades and have that. So I was pretty much just scalping the tape during the morning after the news release, and then during that little press conference. Yeah. So really no drawdown. It's all quick winners today. So that's cool. Because honestly, I thought about just completely sitting out, but I was like, I saw some opportunities, quick scalp opportunities on the tape, so I took those. Yeah, that's cool. So kind of like a free green day. Instead of a flat day, it's a small green day. Like, that's good. C. Davis said, how many points is a scalp for me? So it's not always the same. It depends on the volatility environment. I'm usually going for about 27 points. About 27 points, but sometimes it's less. And sometimes all of a sudden I'll get a directional drive and it's more. It depends. Like during that press conference, I think there were like 15, 20 points. But it was so stable that I was using a tight stop as well. because usually during the press conference, you would have to use a really wide stop. But when I'm scalping the tape, I'm almost looking. I'm like getting in, and there's immediate drive in my direction. Doe John said, "Do I trade New York Open 9:30 to 10?" Yes, I'm extremely active during the opening hour. Yeah, Jake, send me a put something in the music channel on the Discord, and then do like the @ I think you do the @ sign, and then you could do it to me, and it will I think it makes like a noise. I have sounds turned on. Oh, you did? Oh, let me take a look. Song submission. Nice. Oh, Doe John, am I live around that time? No, I'm not live around that time. No, I'm not live around that time. No. I support around that time I support Matt. So Matt's live here in the morning. Let me see here. Stand by. Let me just 1 second, guys. Nice. All right. All right, let me load these up. Who took 20 micros on $1,000 drawdown? That is insane. I mean, you do you, but I'm just seeing this in chat. Samuel said, TPT's cutting code promoters. Do I think it's a liquidity problem? I don't know. I don't think so. I think that they're just, it's a marketing move. I think that they're just targeting higher quality contributors rather than people who charge $6,000 for a course with no edge. That's probably what it is. I think they're just probably identifying there's a lot of scam artists out there. Oh, let me download these songs. Uptown Trade. TRSU Party. Nice. Jake from State Farm. Should we do TRSU Party or Uptown Trade? Your call, brother. Party? All right. Let me create a playlist. Jake from State Farm. All right. Party. Patty. All right, guys. Song from Jake from State Farm. Let's get it. 3, 2, 1. It's like LMFAO. Handsome man, you gotta... Where's your song? You gotta tell me where to find it. Hold on. Hold on. Radio Trading Show TRSU. Okay, hold on. That's the name of the song? In the song submission channel. Hold on. Handsome median 1127. God, I'm not that good at Discord. It's called Welcome to NASDAQ. I'm pretty... Welcome to NASDAQ. Welcome to NASDAQ. I found it. We got you, brother. Welcome to NASDAQ's up next, baby. Hey guys, make sure you tune into Darb's stream tonight, because honestly, the fact that we were in a liquid zone, the fact that we were in a highly liquid zone for that whole press conference, like there was a lot of participation during that press conference and a lot of stable action. And I don't know, it did not feel like it felt like a lot of accumulation. So welcome to NASDAQ.
Welcome to NASDAQ. Camp with a savage camp at 1 minute chat with the back block hot key where your hand at. Your mouse pad left in your backpack. Most get nauseous from contact. Begin and know this. Them always come and go like tourists on a street, but them cannot hold it. Reddit stories missing in action like Chuck Norris. I don't know the real hardcore. NASDAQ and I back you. The real ones will do what them got to and won't think twice to cut close. Now make no big ups unless your foot fit in a big show. A bit tough things come at you.
I love that people submit songs. That's cool. I'm gonna be watching it down here overnight if we get down there. I'll tell you, because let me tell you, what I'm seeing right now, just, I don't know if it's gonna stay this way, but it's just where we're at right now. It's really stable. It's really liquid. So if we can get down, and get sucked back into this zone overnight, that'll be sweet. 24,570 area. I'm gonna watch that area. 24,570. 24,570. 24,575. I'm gonna watch that area. Nice. 24,600 too, but I won't be able to put much risk on at that level. I want to get deeper into that zone. Yeah. We'll see. But definitely tune into Darb's. Definitely tune into Darb's stream, because today was a pretty decent range for decent range with some pretty significant stability, in my opinion. I didn't see whippage except at the highs very early in the session. And I think it was voluminous whippage. Laru's talking about gold. What's gold doing, Laru? Damn, it's 3:42 already? That conference took a long time. All right, guys. Let's see where the likes are at. Let's do another giveaway in 10 minutes. 320 likes. Guys, smash that like button. If it's your first time here, the platform on the left-hand side of the screen, it's called Rocket Scooter. At the beginning of every session, it draws high-volume tradable pivots. They're amazing levels with amazing edge. So we got that platform. You can research it. There's a link in the description. And then we have a 20-day boot camp taught by Matt, aka Matoski. He's the inventor of that platform. 20-day boot camp. Alpha for days in that thing. So there's 3 streams a day. He goes live every day, 8:30 Eastern. And then I'm on in the afternoon. And then we have Darb, aka Brad, on in the evenings at 7 p.m. Eastern. After the open. Smash that like button. The second giveaway is going to be, now again, this does not correspond with the code word. I switch up the code word. It's my new thing I do. It's going to be My Funded Futures 50K Rapid. PG Contract says it's their new edge. No, it's the same edge. I'd say new edge. You know, probably, I'm sure there'll be new edge on the ARB indicator, but I mean, there's already crazy edge. You know, you don't need any more edge than that. Let's see. Let's play a giveaway song. The room shows up. Rocket Scooter giveaway. All right. Here's a little giveaway song. Brand Teppa asking if I'm longing bear zone top. I am not. No, I'm not. I don't like the chart. I tell you, there's a very specific reason why I'm not longing bear zone top. I think there's still a lot of participations below that based on just what I'm seeing. I'm not seeing liquidity thin out here. So it could have a sharp reaction down there, but to me, it just feels like 55%. Doesn't feel like 65, 70, 72% to me. So I'm not taking the long at bear zone top. DD ratio is also very low right now. DD ratio is 0.29. Like, so not for me. You know, I got a little bit of you know, so because I was very scalpy today, there were times where I caught a really good entry, and had I held it, you know, I would have had a really big win. Like my short during that press conference was a really nice entry, and you know, I just didn't hold it. So, you know, I'm just thinking like, if I had held that trade, if I had made that a full trade, you know, would I really be eager to enter at one of these levels right now? No. So. MacD Ruck says, would I long Asia Open? No. No. Not in this area. No. Not in this area. I would wait. I would wait to sell down in the 24,603 and 24,575. If we get down to those areas, then I'll watch the action. Yeah. It'll be hard for me to take a short. See what song we want to put on here. Scooter vibes.
Catch the green wave, watch the profits grow. Chart swinging side to side. Other gurus, wild ride. Scooter tools, island breeze.
See, wasn't you trailing a stop? You hit it at 24,771. 24,771. You know, if I had wanted to hit it, reshort it, it would have been in this decision block retest right here. But that was mid-conference. I'd already taken a couple of scalps. I'm not trying to push my luck. I don't want to give back the whole day on one stupid idea. Especially when the stats are weighted to one side. You know, I know every trade's individual, but you know, I still keep an eye on the stats. 91%. That's not sustainable. So I think if I just keep pushing it, I'm gonna get I'm gonna give it back. 2 minutes to mock. All right, guys. My funded futures 50K rapid. Code word is.
Catch that wave, let the market sway. Scooter life, we just trade and play. Green candles dancing, sun on my face. Rocket scooter keeps my bag in place. Rocket scooter, ride the chill flow. Back stacking high, while the candles glow. Half gap boy, sipping pina colada.
All right, code word is. Hold on. Reset tool. Sorry. There we go. Code word is OMG FOMC. OMG FOMC. That's the code word. OMG FOMC. My funded futures 50K rapid. $3,000 target, $2,000 drawdown. I believe it's 40% consistency. Let's see what other promos we got going on. All when you use code Rocket Scooter. 30% off all accounts. Tradeify. I know we love Tradeify. 50K rapids with my funded futures. $97. Nice. ETF, 80% off all non-fast track evals. That's mock. Damn, so liquid on both sides of the tape. Chop City right there. All right. 80% off non-fast track evals for ETF. Nice. Funded next, it's code Rocket. I wish it was code Rocket Scooter. It's code Rocket. That sets off my OCD. Hold on. Let me just there's a special link. If you're using Funded Next, we have a special link. I'm gonna paste it into chat. So if you're using Funded Next, use this link that I just pasted and then use code Rocket. You get buy one, get one. Buy one, get one. So when you do your first payout, you'll get a free eval. That's cool. The futures desk 60 to 75% off. And TPT, all time, everyone's favorite, is 40% off, no activation fee, and 100% refund on your test. I believe it when you do your first payout. Fidius 60% off fundamentals, 50% off 25k static evals. I should look into that. And then Lucid's 40% off. OMG, FOMC. Guys, if you didn't hit the like button, hit the like button. I think we had 500 people hanging out today. That was cool. Smash the like button. Smash it. I'm going to try to pay more attention to the song channel and Discord. I'm not really on Discord. I kind of just click in to get the overnight dynamic levels. And that's about all I do there. So I'll start looking in the song channel more. Liquidity City right here. Smooth, controlled, stable, healthy sell-off. Very healthy. Rogue of the Lamb, this song is called Fan of Fortune, and I believe it's by Sir Darb. Pretty good, huh? So I actually redid my layout again. Oh, first, did anyone notice the new colors for the borders? Instead of that green, I changed it to this deep magenta purple. What do you guys think? I thought the green was a little clashed. It clashed with the logo. So I thought I'd switch it up. What do you guys think? Eaton, you like it? Reason you like it? Makes the content pop. Yeah, I was trying to, like, first it was too bright. Well, first of all, the green clashed. And then I tried like a bright pink and it was just too bright. So I was messing around with the color just to, you know, I wanted it that sort of color that matched the logo. But I didn't want it, you know, I tried gray. I don't know. I tried a few colors. I thought this was cool though. PG said legibility is key. Yeah. You know, I wish there's not really anything I can take off the screen. The only thing I could take off is the liquidity map, but I don't want to, because I don't like, I kind of know what they are, but it's good for people to see that, because if someone clicks in and they're new to the platform, the liquidity map is quite interesting. And I think it's a big, you know, for people who don't know the platform, the liquidity map part is really cool. You know, I think after a couple months, you kind of don't need it because you just know. But I keep that there because people who haven't seen the platform or are new to the platform, I think it benefits them. I keep the volume and the price velocity up there because I can't really, I won't be able to talk through my thoughts without being able to reference those because I look at them so much. And then, you know, P&L, I like to have a spot for that because it's better to have a visual than just to say, you know, this is how much I'm up. And then seeds I need, and yeah, everything on the screen pretty much. I can't really remove anything. Four minutes to close. All right, let's spin this giveaway. Let's see. Oh yeah, and I redid the layout, so I don't have to cover any charts even when we do the giveaway now. So I'm getting in the groove with that. Okay, giveaway, Brave, here we go. All right, 260 entries. Here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pick a winner. Russell's Burner. Russell's Burner. Smash the like button, guys. Russell's Burner, you in the house, brother? Rigged. Russell's Burner. They call it monthly hedge pressure. Type something in chat, brother. Use a winner. Congratulations. That's a risky name for giveaways because burner implies there's more than one account, but all right. So you're going to send a screenshot of your YouTube ID to Slacks in the Discord. So go to the link in the description. Go to the link in the description. Go to the contest channel in the Discord. Message the admin name Slacks, S-L-A-C-K-S, and he gonna hook you up, my dog. You just won a My Funded Futures 50K Rapid, I believe. Let me double check. And I'm hungry. My Funded Futures 50K Rapid. Tomorrow, I think I'm giving away 2 50K accounts. Nice. I think tomorrow's 2 50K accounts. So that's cool. Hey, look, I set it up so that the giveaway engine, it's like nice and clean in the top right. I cleaned up the layout a little bit. That's cool, huh? Look at that. Nice and neat. I like it nice and neat like that. Boosted dime set reroll. Nah, we'll give him a Slacks will suss it out. I think it's legit. Rockstar late to the stream. Today was a fine day. I took 2 little scalps pre-market, and then I took 2 little scalps during the FOMC. Clocked in a good accuracy today, but I kind of took the session off in a way. I don't know. Like, I was tape scalping. I didn't really have any actual trades that were anything substantial. But whatever. It was either going to be a flat day or a small red or a small green day with the way I was scalping today. Boosted Dime said, can I get rid of the airspace around P&L? No, because, you know, it's set up like that because what happens if I have more, you know, when I do Tradeify, then it'll be longer. So, it's set up that way on purpose. Russell said, no, Russell's brother. Now you the winner. Russell's, do you not want the account? Hold on. Russell's, do you want the account? Oh, you're maxed out with My Funded Futures? All right, guys. All right, we're going to re-roll it. So first of all, everyone type the room shows up because Russell's Burner just basically donated this account back to the community. So Russell's Burner, that's a real one right there. Right? That's a real one right there. Thanks, brother. Russell's Burner. donates it back to the chat. So anytime you see Russell's burner in chat, you know that's a good dude right there. Thank you, Russell's burner. All right, guys, we're gonna re-roll right now. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pick a winner. Albert Calbert, are you still here? Albert Calbert, type something in chat, brother. This sell-off is not done, I don't think. Albert Calbert. Imagine if he left because the giveaway was over. Be a snooze, you lose kind of moment. Albert Calbert. 30 seconds to claim your prize. Albert Calbert's here. Albert Calbert stuck around. Albert Calbert, congratulations. You can thank Russell's. You could thank Russell's for that. Oh, sorry. Not re-rolling. Albert Calbert, use a winner, brother. To claim your prize, click the link in the description for the Discord. You're also maxed out with my funded futures? Wow. Guys. Okay. We're about to pick another winner. Re-roll. Okay. This is crazy. We're re-rolling again. Albert Calbert, another real one. We got a lot of real ones in chat. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, first person to type 0 in chat. I'll when I see a 0 in chat, I'm gonna hit pick a winner. We'll see what the delay is. Okay, I see it. Here we go. Carlito Brigante, use a winner. Type something in chat. Carlito Brigante. Type something in chat, brother. Carlito. I know all the zeros. Carlito, you here, my bruh? Carlito, 15 seconds to claim your prize. Carlito's here. Carlito, are you maxed out? Carlito, are you maxed out in my funded futures? Could you imagine? Carlito, you want this or what? Wait. Are you guys trolling me? Hold on. No. This can't be possible. Are you... Is this real right now? Oh my God, guys. Smash the like button for the shenanigans that's going away. I can't give this thing away. What is happening right now? This is insane. Okay. If there was a poly market on if I could say whether the next person is maxed out or not, I would do 20 G's on not maxed out because, like, come on, this can't happen again. The statistical probability of this, I don't know. With this many people in chat, how many people are here? Hold on, let me just see. How many people are still in the house? This is crazy. We still got 280 people in the house. Guys, there's only 368 likes. That's actually a lot. But smash the like button. Okay. Here we're going. We're going to re-roll. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Andreja Rato Moneymaker, are you here? Andrejo Moneymaker, are you here? A Moneymaker, are you here? Are you maxed out? Andrejano Moneymaker, He's gone re-roll? Well, we don't know if he's gone. Dude, we're almost at my level. The market's almost at this level I've been watching. 24,603. Hold on. Andrejo, was he here? Hold on. I'm giving him 15 seconds. Andrejo. Oh, whoa, whoa. We're coming down to this level. Hold on. Hold on. Let me just put an order there, just in case we tag it. I'm just going to throw one micro on. All right. Andrejo, are you here? All right, I'm going to re-roll again. Ready? Re-roll. We're after hours right now. All right. All right. All right. Pick a new winner. LSG 2012. LSG 2012. Are you here? If this person's not here, I'm going to reset the thing. And I'm going to make the code word after hours. LSG 2012. Are you here? He's here? Everyone's saying he's here. No, I saw his name up higher, so he's probably still here. LSG, type something in chat, brother. He was here like 2 minutes ago. He's here. Are you maxed out? Are you maxed out? Wait. Is the yes that you're maxed out, or is the yes that you... Okay. KIM. What is KIM? Don't say you're maxed out. Don't say you're maxed out. Don't say you're maxed out. Okay, you're here. Do you want this account? Do you want the account? Type I want the account if you're not maxed out, because I want the account. Okay, we finally got a winner, guys. We finally got a winner. We got ourselves a winner. All right. Congratulations on the win. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to click the link in the description for the Discord. Go to the contest channel. Message the admin name Slacks. And he going to hook you up. Send him a picture of your YouTube ID. He's going to hook you up. Congratulations. You're the winner of an account that got passed around the room. It got passed around the room. A lot of people maxed out on that brand. My Funded Futures brand. But there you go. You're welcome. Congratulations. The room shows up. Action slowing down here. Don't look like we're going to get down to that level. I'm going to save it for the open. But I am going to be watching the open tonight because I want to see if we hollow out when we get down to 24,603 and 24,575 area. That, to me, that might be a little short-term turning point down there. So I'm going to keep an eye on that for the after-hours session. This was fun, guys. We went 10 minutes over. Cutting into my snack time. I'm going to close that order out. I thought it looked like we were hollowing out and we were all of a sudden going to wick into it. So we might still, but 410. I don't know. Nah. All right, guys. This was a fun session. In the session with the new colors, FOMC. Had a blast. Thank you so much for being here. Smash the like button on your way out. Don't forget to go to Sir Darb's stream tonight. I really think it's going to be an interesting evening session. We got some good levels. My levels will change after the close, but I got a marker for these levels in my head. All right, guys. Until tomorrow, I'm out. We'll see you tomorrow. Don't forget to tune into Matoski's stream in the morning as well. Until tomorrow, peace.
Screens glow like city lights, heartbeat caught in the candles rise, ticks drift through the stars.